Welcome to Adventures with Dice. I'm Rob and I'm your host for these videos. If you're new here and you find that you like the content that I put out, please consider subscribing and liking the videos. Those small clicks really help a channel like mine out. If you would further like to help out the channel, click on the Amazon wishlist link in the description of each video and you can choose some product to purchase that will help me continue to make content. You can also hit that join button and for $1 a month become an Adventures with Dice hero, which gives you a badge on your comments, early access to videos, and access to my members only videos. Now, with all of that self-promotion out of the way, I hope you enjoy the next video and stick around for future videos. God bless. Let's go.
Welcome back to our series on Tales of Argosa. We are still going through characters, or character classes. Again, today we are looking at the magic user. And let's see, this one, like the cultist, has a little more to it in the sorcery section. So we'll get to it as we go through there. Magic user. You are a magic user, a student of strange and supernatural powers that are not well understood. You might be a mysterious conjurer, a dread witch doctor, or an eccentric sorcerer with a 6-demon bag. Magic is the most multifaceted power in the game. It can conjure lightning, invoke spirits, beguile onlookers, and mend wounds in the blink of an eye. But there is a price to be paid, and no spell is uttered lightly. Like any adventurer, the magic user knows the value of a sharp blade and a steady arm. Their key attribute is intelligence, surprisingly with no minimum requirement. Hit points is equal to their con plus their level, so they just get 1 per level. Let's see, weapons. One-handed weapons, light crossbows, and a sling. Armor and shields. They are allowed to wear light armor. Class starting gear. Spellbook, a longsword that does 1d8. Leather armor, which gives +1 AC. So they're a little tougher than your basic D&D magic users right out the gate. Skills, they get arcane lore, apothecary, plus you roll a d10 3 times to gain 3 more skills from this list. Animal lore, deception, detection, divine lore, gather info, our general lore, persuasion, watercraft, stealth, and wilderness lore. Like the other classes, they have an attack bonus and abilities table, which goes levels 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. At level 1, they have 0 attack bonus. At level 2, they get +1. At level 3, they get +2. And it just goes up from there. Ability, they get Spellcraft at level 1 and Sense Magic. At level 2, they get a new skill and Mental Apparatus. At levels 3, 6, and 9, they get a unique feature, which is like a feat. At level 4, they get +1 to their AC. At level 5, they get a new skill and they get Veil Amulet. At level 7, they get a Battle Foci. And at level 8, they get a new skill and +1 to AC. Alright, so let's look at Spellcraft and how it works. At first level, you know a number of spells equal to your intelligence bonus. You roll a d100 and consult the spell list on page 100 to determine which spells. With each new level, you may learn 1 new spell during downtime through magical research, including studying spellbook scrolls, and so on, acquired as loot. You begin an adventure with 1 use of this ability per level. You may expend a use of this ability to attempt to cast any spell or any spell you know. See the Sorcery chapter, page 91 for more. You may regain expended uses by taking short or long rest. Spellbook. No warlock can hold the workings of magic in their mind for long. The process of learning a spell is, in truth, a thought-destroying one. To counter this, sorcerers bind their most dangerous secrets in spellbooks, storing them apart from their daily consciousness until required. How often a magic user must study their spellbook is abstracted, but a wizard without their scrolls and tomes eventually finds himself unable to invoke magic, crackling mad or destroyed in an ill-fated miscast. GM determines. Sense Magic. Once per point of intelligence modifier per adventure, you may spend an action to attempt an arcane lore check to sense magic within line of sight up to close range. If successful, you sense whether magic is present or absent and its location. On a great success, you also confirm its general nature, like is it protection or whatever. Illusions cannot be detected in this way. See page 91. On a failure, you cannot use this ability again until you sleep for 6 hours. Mental apparatus. At second level, you craft a circlet, a cap, a high-rimmed collar, or other headgear that strengthens your mind against mental attacks. It costs 50 silver pieces. While openly wearing it, you gain advantage to resist mind-based attacks including charm, fear, and so on, but excluding madness. Your mental apparatus only functions for you or other magic users. If lost or destroyed, you may create another during downtime. Unique features. At levels 3, 6, and 9, you gain a new unique feature. New skills. At levels 2, 5, and 8, you gain a new skill. Veil Amulet. At 5th level, you craft an amulet, torque, or other talisman, 100 silver pieces, that assists you to curb adverse veil effects. While openly wearing it, you may spend a reroll to use a reroll on a DDM effect. Your amulet only functions for you or other magic users. If lost or destroyed, you may create another during downtime. And then Battle Foci. At 7th level, you craft a wand, staff, or sword, 200 silver pieces, to better channel arcane energies. While wielding it, you may spend a reroll use to reroll any or all spell damage dice, or the number of targets affected by a spell. If lost or destroyed, you may create another during downtime. Beyond 9th level. If you survive this long, you retire to a remote tower to study the secrets of the multiverse, perhaps with an apprentice and strange servants in tow. So, that seems pretty easy. If you watch the cultist video, you'll remember I talked about the DDM. The DDM is a number that is listed on your character sheet. It starts at 1. Every time you successfully cast a spell, or every time you cast a spell or try to cast a spell, it's going to go up by 1. And then you'll have to roll on a chart, which we'll look at here in just a second. Let's go to Sorcery. Alright. Sorcery. In Argosa, sorcery is relatively rare, mysterious, and perilous. Spellcasters are few and far between, and most villages don't have one, and even the largest cities conceal but a few. Spellcasting requires the following: an action including clear speech and at least one free hand. At the GM's discretion, characters might be able to cast stealthily with a dex sleight of hand versus perception detection check. So you need line of sight and range to the target, a successful intelligence arcane lore check. Whether the casting check is successful or not, a dark and dangerous magic DDM check must be made. The kind of die rolled varies according to the caster's level. A magic user or similar cannot cast the same spell more times than their intelligence modifier per day. They must refresh their memory by studying their spellbook overnight. Results will vary according to the casting check. So with a casting check, if it's a great success, the spell is extra potent. See the description. And then you make a DDM check. If it's a regular success, the spell works as intended. See the description and make a DDM check. Failure. The spell fails. Make a DDM check. Terrible failure. The spell fails and the DDM effect is automatically triggered. Spell limits. Magic is a powerful force, but there are some things mortal sorcery cannot achieve. Amongst these are teleportation, time travel, resurrection, and the curing of madness or addiction. The referee may impose other limits on sorcery. Spell duration. Most spells have an instant duration causing immediate effect. Other spells last a number of rounds, minutes, or hours as noted in their description. A caster may end a spell early by spending an action to dismiss it. This also applies to users of magical items, unless the spell description suggests otherwise. If the caster dies or is rendered unconscious, any ongoing spells immediately end. Sensing magic. Any character with the arcane lore skill may spend a few minutes attempting to sense magic in a close area by making an intelligence arcane lore check. If successful, the character senses there is magic either present or absent, perhaps as a tingling through their spine, a barely perceivable hum in the air, or some other fleeting quality that vanishes after only a moment. Illusion magic cannot be detected in this way. Part of its power includes fooling rudimentary detection methods of this kind. Illusions. Some magical effects create illusions, fooling vision, hearing, smell, taste, and sense of temperature. No illusion can mimic the sense of tactile sensation, however, and interacting with one will reveal the ruse, for example, by passing a hand or object through it. At any time, a character may attempt to disbelieve a suspected illusion, which may require an intelligence check at the GM's discretion. If successful, the character observes the firmament and then as a transparent overlay covering the real creature, object, or terrain. Illusions cannot directly damage or physically affect a target. So that's kind of our basics on sorcery. Now let's look at dark and dangerous magic. Magic is not only rare, it is dark and inherently dangerous. Sorcery was not meant for mortals, and this fundamental mismatch taints every casting with uncertainty from beyond the veil. Magic draws the attention of strange and inscrutable forces, some of which find ways to impose their will on the material realm. Every time a character attempts to 1. Cast a spell, 2. Invoke a blessing without favor, 3. Use a magical item, or 4. Activate some other magical effect as the GM determines, a check must be made to determine whether the dark and dangerous magic, or possibly divine rebuke, occurs. Magical items that grant permanent, always on bonuses or effects, like immunity to fire or crit range boost, are an exception and exempt from DDM checks. When making a DDM roll, the type of die used depends on the character's level on whether they are using a magical item. So again, like in the other video, levels 1 to 3, your DDM die is a D8. Levels 4 to 6, it's a D10. Levels 7 to 9 is a D12, and a magic item is a D20. So, if the roll is a natural 1, the magic functions as usual, but roll a D100 for an additional effect from the DDM table, which is what this table is here. If a DDM or which is Dark Dangerous Magic or Divine Rebuke effect does not occur, the chance increases by 1. So now your DDM number goes from 1 to 2, and that means when you roll if your level is 1 to 3, if you roll the D8 on a 1 or 2, it goes off. A PC's DDM tally resets to 1 when an effect triggers or a new adventure begins. So if you trigger a DDM, if you've got a DDM of 5 or 6 at that point, once you trigger a DDM, it resets everything back to 1. So it's a constant build. Every time you cast a spell, it gets more and more dangerous for something to happen off of this chart. For instance, we have an example here. Old Man Wu is a 3rd level magic user with a DDM tally of 5. He attempts to cast another spell and succeeds. As a 3rd level character, he rolls a D8 to check for the DDM. He rolls a 4. That's less than 5, so he triggers the DDM effect. After the effect is resolved, Old Man Wu's DDM tally resets to 1. Unless otherwise noted, DDM and Divine Rebuke effects are self-sustaining and last a minimum of 1 minute. They cannot be ended early by mortal magic. And then you have this D100 table that you go through for all, and I'm obviously not going to read that. That's way too much. So, as you can see, the magic user has a lot of really cool stuff that he can do, but magic becomes very dangerous, including mutations. So, and in like most low magic or sword and sorcery settings, you're a lot of times your sorcerer or whatever is the bad guy that you're dealing with. Now, that doesn't mean you can't play him as a character. You can, but you're meddling with forces that might corrupt and destroy your character in the long run. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this deep dive into the magic user. I enjoyed going through it. I think next is the monk. Yep, we'll be looking at the monk next. If you enjoyed it, do all the things, the like and the subscribes and all that. And until next time, my friends, good gaming and good luck.